Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, it's been a rough day for me actually. My client today that I was tattooing, we shared a few common friends, and I asked how one of them was doing, and he's like, "Well, man, yeah, we're going to his funeral tomorrow." And this guy was a common acquaintance. So it's not like we were hung out all the time, but like the crazy thing is, like we'd sat in our men's recovery group together, and we'd had conversations about sobriety and relationship and our self work program, and we talked a lot about a lot of the stuff going on. And I kind of feel bad because there was a couple times we were supposed to go for a coffee or a tea or something like that, and I just wasn't able to meet up with him, or we didn't have the time. And there's a few times I was supposed to do tattoos on him, and he wasn't able to attend. He was a good guy. He struggled with some stuff, and then yeah, I found out that he died, and he'd been in recovery for about, I guess, 6 months or so, and then he fell back into it, and it this one was the one. It took his life, and it just reminds me, like life is short and life is valuable, and unfortunately, I don't know what's going on, but people seem to think that this stuff that they're gonna last forever, or that it's never gonna hit them. I've been to too many funerals. I have, and I've watched people. Well, I've also know a lot of the Walking Dead, human zombies walking around. I remember one time I was downtown in our city, and I'm walking from the skate shop that I get stuff at, and I'm walking down and I see what I thought was just another, brown paper bag rubby, and it turned out it was a friend of mine who I'd known since high school, and I felt guilty, because we really had fallen out of touch, and she wasn't doing that great, right? And who knows, she might have even been panhandling, but she looked rough. And I stopped and I said, "Hey, what's going on? How you been?" Da 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 da. And yeah, she's like, "Well, it's not that great." And it was kind of really awkward for me because I'm really struggling to get into a new phase of my life versus my old phase of my life, and she just spiraled. You know what I mean? Like when I quit doing drugs, she kept doing drugs, and it wasn't long before I went to her funeral too. And I think I mentioned in one of my other videos, I was sitting in at the funeral, and I could point out the guys that are the drug dealers that are showing up, and I don't know their relationship, but they definitely didn't give a damn because nothing changed in their life, and I don't understand it. Like, how many times do we have to see our friends die, or see our friends fall into a spiral of self destruction? You know, losing their relationships, losing their partners, losing their houses, losing anything that they have before, one, the people that are around them see the negative consequences of their choices, or two, they can see how toxic their choices are and that it only leads to self-destruction. And it's a repeating pattern with many people. I know many people I've grown up with. You know, one of the funniest guys that I knew from the street life. Like, I got along with him great. He ended up being arrested for, kidnapping and sex crimes, and he had about a $500 a day habit. He was doing, I think it was, and he was on methadone. So we're talking like methadone, morphine, if you could get heroin, but then also amphetamines or crack or methamphetamines. And this is whatever he could get a hold on every day until he ended up pimping. And then he kidnapped his girlfriend and kept her hostage in a hotel room for 24 hours while assaulting her until she ran away. So he gets 3 years, and after he gets out of jail, he probably did. You think he got out for good behavior. He starts calling me up because he wants to buy a motorcycle off me. I didn't want nothing to do with the guy. Like, you're talking to somebody who's been really trying to sober up and get his act together. And again, he died. Yeah, he's dead. So it's crazy, the long list of people I know that spiral into one form of degeneracy or another. Instead of trying to be generative and build themselves up and try to be a better human being, they degenerate, and they spiral into their own personal hells. Like, it's funny because there's all these metaphors, like struggling with demons and stuff like that, and it really makes me wonder how accurate those are. Like, the manifestations of our toxic coping mechanisms or our toxic impulses. Maybe the old religions were talking about elements of our psychology that they hadn't been able to figure out yet. You know, Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung hadn't really written down psychoanalysis yet. But either way, yeah, people are struggling with demons out here, and it keeps going. And it's really weird as a guy who used to be in it, right? And I know these people. Like, there's a reason that these guys are these guys, and I know these people. And as I got out of it, I started seeing what they were doing and how toxic it was and how I was doing the same thing. And I didn't think anything was wrong with it at the time. I just thought I was having fun, man. I just thought it's a party, man. I just thought we're all having a good time. But what was actually happening is misery loves company, and none of us wanted to be alone. If any of you have seen, I think it's the Val Kilmer movie called The Salton Sea. There's a scene where these guys, they're just in a party and they're all jabbering at each other and entertaining each other with superficial kind of pastimes. And, you know, we used to call it jibber jabber. You're talking about nothing because you're just high on a stimulant. And then they open up the door and they had no clue how long they've been in there. It's bright day. It's the middle, it's like noon, and the sun shines in. They don't know how long they've been there. Been there days maybe. And that party just keeps going. Is it really a good time? You know, is it really a good time when you're puking from the stuff you're doing? When your partners are leaving you, your coworkers are don't want to be around you, your friends are abandoning you, and it doesn't matter what addiction you're doing. It could be, you know, you're addicted to gambling, you're addicted to drugs, you're addicted to alcohol, you're addicted to Pokemon cards. It doesn't matter. When it's causing an issue in other areas of your life, especially when those that love you are coming out and saying, hey man, this is causing an issue, and you ignore them, and then you spiral. So you've lost your loved ones, you lose the people that care about you, maybe you lose your income, and then eventually, God forbid, you lose your health or your life. Man, it was a rough day for me, knowing that this guy who, like, literally, our sobriety organization, like, he was there in the meetings, he had the shirts, he was in our promotional material, and he relapsed, and now I'm never going to see that guy again. It breaks my heart, and it was a rough day for me. I don't want many of those days, and I don't think anybody wants those days. Addiction, violence, all that stuff, you know, jail. Yeah, another one, a guy I knew, like a predator dude, just got out of jail. Now I got to deal with maybe bumping into him on the street. Like, you know, the consequences of our life choices really go somewhere. So for young people, choose better choices, because unless you want to be a nomad and leave the environments where these bad people are floating around, just avoid the bad people. And then maybe if you're like me, you've been in hell too long. You're trying to help some people up from hell to be a normal human being. I'm not pretending I'm in heaven. No, 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 no. I was talking with my partner about that. I'm like, yeah, I get it. You're kind of a hippie. You kind of take those people that are normal humans and you try and get them to the next level. You're trying to be the stairway to heaven. I'm trying to be a rope out of hell for some of these guys, man. It's rough out here, and there's a real struggle happening. I just don't know what to do or how to help. I guess maybe this channel is one attempt that, even if I don't know you and you don't know me, know that some people out here have been there and done that and survived, and we believe in you. Anyways, thanks for listening. This was more for me than you. This isn't a big advice one. This is just me venting after a rough day. All right. You guys have a good one. Stay strong. Fight the good fight. Strive higher for a better life. Peace out.